Welcome back, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, to the super, not funny show, Supercast. The Supercast, where we talk about all things superhero and pop culture, and that's movies, TV shows, video games. We talk about news, speculation, all that good nerdy stuff. I am Mole Poupée, your resident fabricant and comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Ladi. Ladi, what's going on this evening?
Oh man, the Batman. I can't stop watching it. I just can't. I mean, I'm obsessed.
That's I'm sure you are not alone in that. Batman just dropped on HBO Max yesterday, um, which I call it a dumbass move on the part of WB. But hey, it's their money, so stupid move.
Yeah,
But hey, but
yeah.
that's this episode we will be talking about reviewing finally um, the Batman and talking about its impact on the box office and WBDC moving forward. But we also have, as we always do, we have some more items to talk about, some news that has happened this week. For instance, a guy breaks the Guinness World Record on the number of times seeing a movie in theater, and you're going to be surprised how many times and what movie that was. There's a new little indie Superman demo in the new Unreal Engine 5 that looks cool, uh, but also raises some really sad and frustrated feelings for us. And we're going to talk about what it all means for us. There's a shakeup over at Warner Brothers. It's been acquired by Discovery. And so, what does that shakeup mean for the future of DC films? More Ezra Miller stuff. The guy can, I mean, they can't seem to get it right. So we're going to talk about that. There was the long-awaited Thor teaser trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder. We're going to dig into that. So all that plus Batman discussion. So
hmm
you ready, Lottie? Let's get into this news.
Yep.
Some quick news bits. We're going to try. I know we're usually long-winded on our things. We're going to try to be real short on a couple of these things. So, the Guinness Book of World Records didn't know that there existed. Well, I guess I should have known. There was a record for the number of times you have seen a movie theatrically. And so a man has broken the record. 292 times sat down and watched Spider-Man No Way Home, which we all love. We love that movie. Great stuff. But 292 times? But why though?
Yeah.
That's
Why
the
though?
question. But why though? So between December 16th and March 15th, this guy literally watched it 3 or 4 times a day. And I looked into it. He had to sit and watch the entire thing without getting up, without looking at his phone, right? And he had to stay from the very beginning to the end of the credits. And 292 times. He estimated he spent over $3,500 to do so. Also, he could reclaim his title because apparently he had watched Endgame 191 times before. Um, Lottie, am I right? Nerds.
Yeah. This is. I'm down with the cause, but I'm sorry, man. I got better things to do in my life than just. I mean, watch a movie that many times. Nah, I'm good.
Apparently, he had seen it so many times he could recite the entire movie from memory, and that on the very last one he did, he recited the entire movie from memory. It, you know, and he was in there by himself. So yeah, nerds. We do stuff like this, don't we?
Yeah.
I really like this movie. Like a lot of people really like this movie. It made over $1.6 billion. It's great, but nerds, right?
Yep.
But you know what? I think I'm not gonna talk shit about him. I take my hat off to you, sir. Ramiro Alanis, that is the man's name. A man from Florida, which of course, why wouldn't it be?
Yeah, Florida man.
I take my hat off to you, sir, for your steadfastness and your true nerdiness. So Yeah. Good job, you.
It's
Uh,
like you said, it had to be a Florida man.
yeah. Not no surprise whatsoever in my mind. So, all right. Another quick one. This is more about our reaction than the actual thing. There was an indie developer that ported over. This isn't brand new. He ported over a Superman demo into Unreal Engine 5, and in particular into the Matrix demo, playable demo that they did. It's basically just to show off Unreal Engine 5 and what it could do. And let me tell you, it looked pretty cool. It was basically just flying around. He wasn't doing anything else. They were just showing the flying and the physics and what it would look like. Looked pretty cool. It looked like it could be AAA. Um, but it also just made me think we're never gonna get an actually good Superman game, and it
Yeah,
is man, that's frustrating.
yeah,
Um, I mean, Marvel's done their thing. I mean, I'm not saying Marvel's Avengers is great, but they did do it, right? And
yeah.
they've had Batman and Superman, no love. Lottie, what as a a game developer and just a lover of video games and also superheroes, why can't they get Superman right?
To be honest with you, man, it's not game developers. Like game developers want to make video game uh movies. I mean, a video game for Superman, and I'm talking about not like indie. I'm talking about big time guys are begging DC to let them make a Superman, and the latest to beg them, and DC told him no, was uh, uh, uh the guy who's the creator of God of War.
Mm,
He begged him. He's like, I can make a good Superman uh video game. I mean, he's made God of War. He knows how to show a being of that power in a video game. But DC, for some reason, I guess maybe there's still some people that work at DC that was alive during when Superman 64 came out and are like
mm.
just like nope, never again. We're never going to see. And it's I mean, I agree that I don't think if you're going to make a Superman video game, it can't be too over the top. You're gonna almost have to ground Superman, and it will have to be like a Superman where he's just starting off, like he doesn't exactly know how to fly just yet. Because you got to look at it like this: if you make a Superman game and Superman could just fly everywhere, the amount of storage and RAM that the world will like think about how big that world will have to be for you as a person not to be bored of the game. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It will almost have to be almost like a No Man's Sky type thing where Superman can fly from planet to planet. Because
Nope, nope. We need to have invisible walls that keep him within the bounds of a certain play area. That makes sense.
yeah, it's just
Uh,
but that the thing about it is though, that would have worked all the way into 2000s. But nowadays, people actually downvote games because they have boundaries. Like real talk
yeah,
in today's day and age.
it's. I think just seeing this, you just like it. It kind of just. I don't want to say it makes me sad. I'm just like I just shake my head. I'm like they're just not going to be able to do it. Uh, and it
Yeah,
almost feels like that's the same way they feel about the movies. Like we just can't do it. Um,
yeah,
which, I mean, somebody smart got to be smart enough to do better. So, but I thought that was just a fun little thing we could look at, and maybe they'll take the hint and do a AAA Superman game. Probably not though. But speaking of Superman, Lottie, so Discovery, Discovery, the network. I don't want to say the network, the company that runs the Discovery network of channels, just bought Warner Brothers, and in so doing, they acquired a ton of IP. But you know why we care is they acquired DC Films, And the first thing they started talking, like this just happened this week. Like they've been talking about it for months, but it's really been finalized in this last week. So what they've been talking about is one of the first things they're saying is, "Hey, y'all ain't been running DC right. It's time for us to shake this thing up and get some movement." I'm not going to repeat all the corporate speak and all that. Suffice it to say that the CEO thinks that DC is a main revenue generator for Warner Brothers, and that they have not been properly exploiting all of the IP. That some top shelf properties have been left to languish, and that
Mm-hmm.
there's hasn't been a coherent strategy. There hasn't essentially been a Kevin Feige-ish person. Not necessarily on the creative side, but on the business side, because that's one thing Kevin Feige's got going for him. He's a creative, but he also manages the business side and has successfully, kind of what the corporate word, synergy. He's got the synergy between all of the departments within Marvel. And now, of course, he runs all of Marvel, not just Marvel Studios, but the TV and everything. And so they're looking to find somebody that can kind of serve that role, at least on the business side, maybe not the creative side, but on the business side, to kind of get everyone working in tandem to make it more like Marvel Studios. So one, this isn't about Marvel. We're not really talking about Marvel. We're just talking about the idea that they have here. And part of this has been floating, like they said, stuff that's been on the shelf. Part of that is the very strong possibility that this could mean Superman is coming back to the big screen sooner, much sooner rather than later. To which, Lottie, your response is
Thank God. Free hashtag free Superman. Please.
free Cal
Thank
L.
free Kal-El. I mean, the man has been living in purgatory for like almost a decade now. Let's be honest. He's been in for at least 5 years, but he hasn't had a solo movie in almost a decade. He's been in purgatory, just rotting away underneath Snyder stands.
Well, if the Snyder Stans had their way, they would have had I'll give them this credit. They would have had another Superman by now. There would have been a
Yeah,
Man of
but
Steel too.
but they apologize for DC, so no, it's their fault too.
Well,
I'm
they
just playing.
no the Snyder Stans shit on DC a lot. They're mad because Zack Snyder, which I hope all the Snyder Stans understand. This new regime isn't looking at Snyder's movies and thinking that's the way towards success. They're looking at his movie and saying, "Why the fuck did y'all keep up with that? Like seriously, why'd y'all keep doing? Why'd y'all make Zack Snyder's Justice League? Zack Snyder's Justice League. I like it. I'd watch it again. It lost them money. They spent something like 50, 60 million dollars. I might be lowballing it to finish that movie, only to see it not drive any real significant subscribers. So what the hell was the
Yeah.
point? What was the point of
Yep.
that? Movies are money. You spend money to make money. They didn't make any money off that. So, Snyder stands. They got what they wanted, and I am telling you, you know, I'm just gonna assume that the people coming in want to make money, and so Zack Snyder's not the money making path. But if they really care about just seeing Superman again, well, there you go. Superman among many other things, and I don't think they're wrong. Look, I don't think these people are wrong about top flight properties that don't aren't been nothing's been done with them. You know,
Yeah.
even Green Lantern. Maybe not everyone knows him, but it's basically a space opera thing. Like, why can't they exploit that? Why is Justice League not two been made? Why hasn't Superman been made? And they're even talking about like we need more Jokers and stuff like that. Of course they would. That's which also gives me pause, by the way, because we need more Jokers is what people say when they say they see a movie made for like less, $50 million makes $1 billion. That's money
Yeah.
talking. That's not. Oh, we have creatively some great ideas for Joker. Let's do it. No, they wanted they all they see is dollar signs. So that's why it sort of gives me pause too. That this is good news, but not great news because these are corporate suits talking about how they can exploit a property as opposed to how can they, you know, how can they make great things out of the properties they have. So,
Hmm.
I guess I'm gonna say I'm optimistic but cautiously so, um,
Yeah.
because the
Hopefully.
and their search for a Kevin Feige-ish person. I'm like, man, good luck. Good luck on that. Because I tell you what, if you could find a Kevin Feige's clone, you think you think Sony hadn't been looking for that? I,
Yeah.
they've been looking, and that the best thing that they could do is just to get motherfucking Kevin Feige. So, I mean, again, good luck on that. But we'll see. Hopefully this will be good. I really hope that Films does turn into its own Marvel Studios because, uh, they not that they haven't been making good things, like one of which we're going to talk about later, but that they just need to be able to have a lot more creative freedom and also a lot more cooperation and synergy so that, everyone's working together to make the studio itself successful. So we'll see. This shakeup's going to be going on for the rest of the year, and we're going to find out where all the dominoes have fallen. Speaking of things that are falling, Ezra Miller. Yo,
And I can't
wait.
get
So
up.
this is our third week in a row talking about him. That's not good.
Yeah.
That is definitely not good. We talked about Will Smith slapping Chris Rock for one episode, for one week, and haven't really come back to it. Ezra Miller, third week strong. So Ezra Miller got arrested again in Hawaii. I'm gonna say it's assault. Apparently, he threw a chair at a woman. Got belligerent, whatever. And this isn't looking good for the Flash, is it?
Yes. That movie looked like it might not come out.
I mean,
Or
it's been pushed to next year. This is not looking good. Like, I don't know what else to say about this, other than who is around Ezra Miller, and what are they doing to help Ezra Miller out? Because
yeah,
this is a person who, and
obviously
I
not
don't even
well.
I don't even feel good saying fumbling the bag because it's not now it's going from, man, that's funny that and it's messed up to not being funny anymore.
Yeah, he's this he is definitely at this point not well. We could pretty much say that. There's not something not right with him right now.
Yeah,
And there needs to be an intervention. I'm not saying that's DC's job to do. They don't owe him anything. They made him famous by putting him in movies. Same thing as I've saw like things saying, "Oh, they need what is those people? The people who made Fantastic Beast and all them. They were like, oh, they need to step in and help." And I'm like, they don't owe him. They made him famous and rich. I mean, they don't owe him, and I'm pretty sure they have reached out to him,
yeah,
and he's just not responding to it well. And I just hope that this doesn't end in tragedy, either
right,
on his side or from somebody else's side. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Because something has to be done, or it will end in tragedy.
yeah. It, I think we of course it's a supercast. We're talking about it from our we selfishly want our superhero stuff, but I mean just from a stepping away from that, this is just a person who I don't we don't have any personal connection to, but it would be it would be nice if this person who seems to be spiraling out of control had someone or some people that around that they listened to that they could kind of get back on track. And
Yeah.
I'm at the point now. If this continues for much longer, we're not getting Flash next year. It's
No.
just, I don't think it's happening. If I don't think they're going to reshoot it either. I think they may end up doing a dark, X-Men Dark Phoenix where they want to reshoot, but they can't reshoot, so they just put out what they have and edit it as well as they can, and probably edit it in a way that Ezra Miller's Flash no longer exists, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, not for us as fans, but for Ezra, as Ezra Miller as a person, to just to have the problems they're having sort of ruin their life. So I'm gonna hope that somebody somewhere is able to get through to them and get them the help they need, because this is, I don't want to have to talk about this again, but I have a feeling we will be very soon.
Yeah.
So best of luck to Ezra Miller, and we hope they are able to kind of get a hold of whatever's happening. And as and not just as fans, just as people who care about other people. So we'll let you guys know whatever we find out about that in the future. On to somewhat more, much more fun topics. We finally, I think it is all of the hashtag where's the Thor trailer has finally gotten through to Disney, and we got a Thor teaser trailer.
Yeah.
My God, this trailer's so good. This trailer is so good. You know what? I was going around trying to see people's reactions to it, and there are for real people that don't like this trailer. On this earth, there exists people who think that, who don't like Taika Waititi's take on Thor. And you know what? I'm allow them their very wrong opinion, but this shit looks like everything I could possibly want in a Thor. Anything. Literally everything that I could possibly want. Just the Thor. We saw it. There was a training montage, man. A training montage. The Thor getting buff and getting rid of all of the beer weight. So much humor in here. I love Taika Waititi's take on Thor. Thor Ragnarok, fight me, was better than the other two.
Oh, I mean, is this a debate?
It is apparently online. I saw it for real. People being like, that first Thor is much better than Ragnarok, and I'm like, you are smoking something.
What you're not just smoking something. You are taking like acid or something.
I mean, I'm like, step away from the ledge, because you are really, you are selling out hard right now. But it was, there were people, and I'm like, get out of here. But this, by and large, people love this trailer. I did want to sort of talk some shit about the fandom menace, bitch ass fandom menace. Talking about, they're mad because Jane Foster is in there as Thor. You know what? Y'all some real bitch babies. They're very specific. We talked about the toxic fandom before. These motherfuckers, I swear, they don't. If there's a woman ever sort of looking equal to a man, it gets their little panties in a twist. It's get out.
You said it perfectly. And then what makes it so funny, because I saw that too. This is a comic book accurate. I saw this one person put that on Twitter, and then someone on Twitter tagged him, put a photo of Jane Foster's comic book thing of her doing the same thing, and they were like, it was a guy. He was like, not comic book accurate, huh?
Yeah.
Some of these dudes be saying, you could just, if you're sexist, at least admit it. Don't say stupid stuff. to
Yeah.
cover up your sexism,
Thank
being
you.
sexist.
This is all this fandom finish. Boy, and I swear to God, we're gonna get back to talking about the trailer in just a second. But I got to dunk on these motherfuckers because they deserve it. You gonna be racist? Just say, motherfucker, I hate black people or Asians or Mexicans. Just say it. Don't be trying to be like, well, it's bad, right? And you got bad. They come up with all these fucking excuses because they're fucking cowards.
Yeah.
At least a few. I'll give a credit to the ones that have their own YouTube channels. They have the courage of, the same kind of courage that people in big crowds of people that agree with them have. It's courageous to call a black person the N-word or to be misogynist or whatever when you got 1,000 people that are up there cheering you on. So they got that kind of courage. At least they got courage to put their name on shit, but just straight bitch ass bullshit. Yeah. and I say, fuck the fandom, man. Fuck all of those toxic ass dudes. Fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck them. They are not the men that they are not these men,
a representation of actual men.
They're men who just like guys who like comic books. We got it's a fantasy thing. The problem is that these guys really think that manliness is it's this fantasy bullshit that they've come up with that they can't even personally live up to. They personally do not live up to that trope or whatever, and they're mad that the world doesn't conform to that stupid ass fantasy that they can't live up to. It's bitch ass. It's stupid, and I will dunk on it every time I get. You guys are trash, absolute trash. And but keep on catering to trash ass people just like you because you're trash. Anyway, that has nothing to do with Thor except for their bitches. So the Thor teaser trailer had so much awesome in it. So I mean, like it was hilarious. The bit where Star-Lord's having a moment. Star-Lord's been like, look into the eyes of the people that you love, to kind of remind you of where you are. And he's looking up at the Guardians, and Thor's siding into it. Now it's like that. I mean, how can you not laugh at that? It's oh my. I love that we're gonna get a lot of that stuff that we saw from Infinity War. We're gonna get more of that, and we saw King Valkyrie. Natalie Portman looked fucking badass.
In that power suit, I was like, look at her in the power suit, looking like Lex Luthor.
And I'm telling you, I'm sure their personal trainer said, "Hey, here's the comic book. Do you see what Jane Foster looks like as Thor? That's what you're aiming for." And she was like, "Bet." And she did that shit. Man, she looks so awesome. That whole fucking trailer just like got me hyped as fuck.
Yeah.
It's July, man. It's July.
And you know what's crazy about all of this? What's so crazy?
What's that?
There's a part of that thing that literally looked just like a Naruto opening. Like the part where he's wandering in between trees and he's getting older. That is like a person actually showed it directly came from like, I'm not saying they directly took it from a Naruto opening, but there's a Naruto opening that happens just like that. Right. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Now, like I said, it shows the different parts of Thor. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a action slash. This is going to be an action comedy, but it's also going to have. It's going to have a lot of drama in it, and I just love the '80s vibe to it.
And there's epicness. I mean, you didn't see his face, but you saw Russell Crowe as Zeus. So there's like other pantheons are coming into this. We haven't even seen the bad guy yet, but like, and look, Taika Waititi and like the designers and all that. Those guys they are on it. There's literally a part, that part where you saw Korg and Thor standing on like on top of a ridge, and they're overlooking like this corpse of this dead thing, like on this snowbank. Mm-hmm. That's straight from the comic. So like these people talking about, oh, it needs to be more accurate to the comics. You getting that? You know,
Yeah.
it's man. Look, I'm hyped, super hyped. So, dude, we gonna be look. You know, you've seen people that like we eating this year for the Marvel MCU. We eating this year. We are
Yep.
they feeling it. We gonna be eating good this year. So hyped. You guys go watch that trailer again. I'm so hyped. I can't wait for the real trailer. It's just a teaser. That's just a teaser, man. See, DC, Discovery, Warner Brothers, y'all need to be paying attention. These guys,
Yep.
this is the playbook right here. You want to take some pages out the playbook? That's the playbook right there. Run those plays. What they say in Remember the Titans. It's like Novocaine. It's going to work. It's going to work after a while.
Yep.
Anyway. All right, so you guys go check that out, and we'll talk about the next trailer when it comes out. So finally, I think that was the last of our news. Yes, the last of our news. We may have missed some things actually, and we took some things out too, just for the interest of time. But maybe you thought that there was some things we should have talked about. Get down to the comments. Let us know about that, and let us know what you think about what we had to say. And we'll chop it up. Of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com. or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter, and we'd love to hear from you. Talk about this news. All right, Ladi, it's time for the main event.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, yes, it's the main event time. The Batman. I didn't even know this, but I should have known this. But they said 45 days after it was released in the theaters, they're gonna put it on HBO Max because for some reason DC hates money.
Yeah.
Good. Fortunately for them, the Batman delivered. Much to the chagrin of Snyder stands everywhere, the Batman just this over the last week crossed $750 million worldwide. And again, I mentioned Snyder stands. I don't like dunking on you guys, but I will when y'all act stupid. And they acting so stupid about this. I'm telling you, I had like some real back and forth with people about whether or not the Batman is a success. Let me just tell you, anyone who's saying $750 million isn't a success is either a dumbass or they are a Snyder stan, or both. Because $750 million, there aren't too many movies that look sideways at that.
No.
Right? That would be like, that's not good enough. Did they want to make $1 billion? Yes, they want to make $1 billion. Did they think they were going to make $1 billion? No, they didn't think they were going to make $1 billion.
Yeah, I'm noticing a trend. I'm noticing a trend with DC sometimes. The movies that they expect to do well don't do well, and the movies that they're like, we're probably not going to do well, go like, oh my God, we should have pushed this out a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Well, but
it happened with the Joker.
I think that was just like, they thought they had a good movie. They didn't know they had a great. They didn't know. I think they thought they had a great movie. They didn't think they had a $1 billion movie. I understand that, but in this case, I think this is above expectations, but not like so far out that they're just like, what is this? So understand that anyone who's telling you that the Batman flopped is an idiot. Straight and tell them you're an idiot. It didn't flop. 750. There in no world is $750 million a bad
flop. Yeah,
it's not. It just isn't. On a reported budget of something like $200 million. So I've said this before, but understand, profitability usually comes something like 2.5 times the budget of the film, depending on how much they market it or whatever. But let's just say round it up to 3. Whatever the budget times 3, and anything over that is pure profit, right? Everything in that, that 3 times is the budget of the film, the marketing budget, and how much money they give to, they share with theaters. So, simple math, I know I can multiply 2 times 3, right? 200
Yeah.
times 3, $600 million. That was their break even point, theoretically. So they're 150 million over it, right? They're winning. 150. Anyone who says 150 million dollars in profit is bad, that it's a flop, once again, they're stupid, and you shouldn't
Yeah.
listen to them.
Yeah.
To put it into more perspective, this is for Snyder Stand specifically, because they're the ones that are talking about this. They were prognosticating. I saw people like, "Oh, it's barely going to make 500 million. It's a flop." Okay, sure, wrong, but this is for Snyder Stand specifically. Of all the Snyder films, how many made over $700 million? Let's just.
I don't think any of them did.
Oh no, one did. Justice
What
League
was
did.
it?
Justice League didn't. Man of Steel didn't. Man of Steel made $670 or $80 million. 600, maybe 690, something like that.
Hmm.
Justice League made 650, somewhere around there. Batman v Superman made 800 and I want to say 850 something, 860 something, whatever. Do you know what the budget for? Let's forget about the other two. They don't count because they failed, right? They didn't make
Yeah.
600. They didn't make as much as the Batman has. Batman made 750, past 750 million recently, and that Batman v Superman made 860 or 70 million, right? You know what the budget
Mhm.
for? You know what the budget for Batman v Superman was? Was
I'm
200.
I'm gonna
Oh,
I'm gonna guess this is fucking
what?
ridiculous.
It wasn't ridiculous, but it was more. $250 million. So again, let's do math, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking about seven. It needs to hit 750 to be profitable, and it did. It made 100 over 100, probably 130 over its profitability versus
Hmm.
150 million over the profitability for the Batman. So what's all this shit about? It's not. It's a flop. That's all I'm saying. I know I'm going off because we need to put to rest this bullshit about that the Batman is a failure. That Warner Brothers is saying it's not a failure. The actual fucking numbers say it. Math itself is saying shut the hell up. Snyder stands. You're wrong. But I guarantee you can go on to Twitter right now and see people arguing that somehow $750 million is bad. I, I at some point, I'm just arguing with these motherfuckers just because I'm like, I hate stupid people talking confidently about shit that they don't understand.
Yeah.
I just don't like. Anyway, that being said, it's on HBO Max now. Probably that 750 is probably it's probably going to make more than that, but not much more. So it's at the end of its profitability. It's fine. It's a good outcome. But that's all numbers. The important thing is, what did Ladi think about this? What did Ladi think about this? I've mentioned what I sort of thought about it, that I liked it. I thought it was pretty great. And so, but I want to hear what you have to say about it, sir.
Here comes my scorching hot take. I feel like, in my opinion, this was the best Batman movie I've ever seen. I understand, there's a lot of people that say Dark Knight is better, and I will not disagree with them. This is just my opinion. The reason why I feel this is the best Batman movie ever made, because this is the first time I've ever watched a Batman movie and I was entertained watching Batman. Every other Batman movie I've watched, Batman always played second fiddle to the main villain. And it's just true. The main villain of the Batman movies is the main character of the Batman movie. This is the first time I watched the movie where I was like, okay, they're actually leaning into Batman. We're seeing actual character development of Batman. We're seeing who we're actually going deep into his character and his psyche. And just one of the the fact that they introduced Batman as this mythological creature. And every time they introduced him into a scene, it was never through his perspective. It was always through someone else's perspective, which is so amazing. And this was a work of art. And a lot of people come into this movie thinking we're going to see Batman doing amazing things, jumping, doing ninjutsu, drop kicking people from a building, just doing crazy stuff. No, this is what I felt that a Batman movie should be. A serial killer mystery horror with Batman guest starring in it. I won't even say Batman guest starring, Batman in it. And this is my take on really what the Batman movie was. The Batman movie was exactly this. It was a serial killer movie with a monster in it. And the monster was Batman.
I love that you said that because they almost literally like there's a lot of horror in this movie, like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of horror, and not that there's any actual like monsters in this, and except that Batman very much is a boogeyman. Like the way, like it's like he's the. It's like Matt Reeves understood that the whole point of the Batman comics is that every criminal in Gotham is scared to shit. They're scared as shit of Batman. They
Yeah.
know he can't be everywhere at once. He's not Superman. They know that. But boy, you were fucked if he is. If he's near, if he's so they had that part in the beginning where they show the bat signal going up. They're like, oh shit, Batman's out on the prowl. Oh shit, like,
Yeah.
like let me get off the streets. You know, it's and people. There's all these dark shadows, and they're like, is he in the shadows? Is he? What's that? Let me get the fuck out of here. Like that's
Yeah.
he is very much the boogeyman.
Yeah.
I wanted to say I sort of liken him. I said this to somebody on Twitter. I can't remember who. He's like Michael Myers.
Yeah. That is
An
exactly what it
he's
is.
an imposing shape that terrifies the shit out of his opponents. And the
Yeah.
only people who are gonna fuck with him are people who have a lot of people with them or who are not sane.
Yeah, yeah. And or they don't even know who the hell he
Yeah.
is. You know what I mean? And I just love because it's like you said, it's like a monster horror in the sense of not to us, but the thing about it is Matt Reeves is putting us into perspective of these criminals, and every time he's introduced, you hear those footsteps, like it's this is literally what we as a person who watches horror movies when a killer is coming and the person's scared and is locked into a room, what do they hear? Those footsteps outside the door. The door is the shadow, and Batman is the killer slash, I won't say killer, he's the monster. But he's the monster to those thugs. And it's just the way they just portrayed it. And don't even get me started on that scene where he makes the penguin crash and
Yeah.
he's in his upside. Man, listen, I
Yeah.
literally like had my hair on like the back of my spine raising. Like that was an amazing shot.
Yeah, that's the thing is that this is a Batman movie, and I'm gonna explain that. This is a movie in which Bruce Wayne does not exist. I show me where Bruce
Yeah,
Wayne is in this entire movie. At no
yeah,
point, I don't give a fuck if he's got that suit on or not. At no point do you see Bruce Wayne. All you ever see is Batman.
Yeah.
That's we've this never it is on screen. He has never just been Batman, and this is Batman before he made Bruce Wayne a character that he plays.
Yeah.
And it shows. Why people were asking like, oh, what's up with Pattinson? He's been weird. His Bruce Wayne's weird because that's not Bruce Wayne. That is Batman with a costume on.
Yeah.
That is Batman who is incapable of being normal, trying to be normal.
Yeah. And this is what a lot of people are not understanding, because a lot of people, I talked about this yesterday with somebody, and they're like, oh, but, they're not catching the subtle hints in the movie, because they're like, well, he's Bruce Wayne. Everyone knows Bruce Wayne and all that stuff. He's out there. I said, look at the movie. Every time Bruce Wayne shows up, everybody's like, oh my God, it's Bruce Wayne. Oh my God, Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? Like, they're like shocked. Like, they're like, oh my God, he exists. He's out here. You know what I mean? I mean, they threw the hints throughout the movie so many times. I mean, Alfred even said it himself. Is Bruce Wayne going to make an appearance today?
Yep.
I mean, he's like you said, he recognizes he's only Batman. He's only wants to be Batman. Yep. And as you said, this is him, a young Batman. He's only been Batman for 2 years. He's learning how to do it. He's very angry and very unwell, because clearly the man is not well, because he says it in front. I mean, to say that in front of somebody that is lying on their deathbed, or I won't even say deathbed, but lying in a hospital, to say I don't fear death. That is someone who is not very well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And yeah, as a result, his inability to, like, part of his problem is he doesn't understand why his campaign of terror against criminals isn't working.
Yeah.
He's like, why isn't this working? Right?
Yeah. And
then, on top of he's a detective. Like, this is the I'm actually a detective. Let me show you what I can do sort of situation, and playing Riddler's game and constantly being behind, and sort of like, sort of remember in Harry Potter and the, what's the seventh one, whatever, the seventh Harry Potter, where Dumbledore's, that kind of, that expose of Dumbledore really kind of shakes Harry to the core about, what was Dumbledore really like? And that's this whole movie is, what's Gotham really like? All these, you're going after these criminals. Everybody's a fucking criminal.
Yeah.
All these people that are getting murdered, the Riddler's trying to expose, so there's this big QAnon sort of like crazy conspiracy theory that gets turned, people radicalized and shit like that. And Riddler wasn't wrong. That's aside from being a murderous motherfucker, he wasn't wrong about shit. Like, there's so many aspects of this movie where you're like, but you're not wrong though. And the other thing, like, God, there's so many cool characters in here. Selena Kyle is so good. Like, Zoe Kravitz kills as Selena Kyle to me.
Yeah.
I loved her portrayal of Selena. She's not Catwoman. So let's not call her that. She's Selena Kyle. She's not Catwoman yet. But you know what she is? She's astute. She is so on it that at the end of the movie, she says, hey, we could run away. Forget this fucking town. Let's go on. But she knows, and she looks in his eyes and she's like, your heart's already spoken for. I can't have you. And if that doesn't explain Batman, I don't know what does. He cannot properly love somebody else because he is dedicated, in his heart, he is dedicated to whatever this, fatalistic crusade to save an unsavable city. and
Yeah.
he'll die at it. It's
Yep.
there's just there's so many levels. This movie's got so many fucking levels to it.
Yeah.
It's on. And what do you think about the Penguin though?
I like the new little thing of the Penguin instead of him being this basically corrupt version of Bruce Wayne. He's a mobster, which I like because it adds more to the dark aesthetic of this movie and the more grounded aesthetic that he's just a mobster that's been making money off of selling basically bottle meth.
You
You
know
know.
what? You know what's interesting about about Oswald Cobblepot in this one
Hmm.
is in a way he's also a bit of a gentleman. Which is weird
Yeah.
to say, right? He has a moral code. He has ethics.
Yeah.
He you saw at the end when he realized that Falcone was the rat.
Yeah.
He was his what's that? He was offended. He was
Yeah.
offended that Falcone would be a rat. It
Yeah.
never occurred to him to be that guy because he has a moral code and that it has been violated by someone he thought was on the level. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's different because most of the time you're used to seeing these guys just do whatever just to make it happen, right? But
Yeah.
this guy has a code and he's living by it. That's different, and I like that they did something different with instead of just making him some weird little penguin, affectation or something like that.
And it's like you said. I mean, as you can see, there's just certain things he won't do. You know what I mean? Like he was like, I didn't kill no girl. I have nothing to do with that. All this stuff where he's like, he was telling Batman the truth. He's like, I don't know who that girl is. You know what I mean?
Yep.
As much as Batman didn't like what he was saying, he's like, listen, man, I'm not the type of guy that you think I am. I don't kill innocent women for no reason. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, if you steal, obviously, if you steal from him, he'll attack you. But that's the thing that I'm like, when it comes to that, I really enjoy. Like you said, I really enjoyed that they went into they're going more into a more grounded, very more grounded, realistic story. We're not getting like the crazy over the top stuff. They're being more grounded, and
Mhm.
it's it's like even the like crazy little subtle things like Batman having to get away from the police. He just didn't jump off the thing and spread his bat wings. No, realistic. He has to put on a basically a gliding suit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And he doesn't, and he's not a master at it. He busted his shit.
Yep. I wanted to also shout out Jeffrey Wright for just man, he's a good Gordon. He is
Oh yeah.
he's a good he's not commissioner, he becomes I think he becomes so at the end of it. But he's a quote good cop in a bad department. But no such thing as good cops, that let bad cops get away with stuff. So you sort of see him trying to not be morally compromised, but also having to be morally compromised in order to do his job.
Yeah.
And I like that. And I like that part of his way of dealing with it is just to be like, I'm going to work with Batman. So, what are you going to, and I love the fact that also in so doing, the cops are fucking scared of Batman. Like
Oh yeah.
like everybody, even the people he helps are afraid of him.
Yeah.
And like it's just showing his crusade is not working. It is just isn't working.
Yeah. And that's where it became a full circle at the end, where he saves those because at the end where he gets the people out of the rubble,
Hmm.
they're like hesitant. They don't want to take his hand until the orphan, the boy, helps him. I mean, takes his hand, and then slowly other people do, and you see him holding the flare in the darkness, leading the people to safety. And I was just like, this is the new. This is where it's going. Where he's now no longer just vengeance. He's now going to become a beacon of hope. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Because that's what's going to change Gotham, not him just beating the shit out of everybody.
Yeah. We haven't talked about Riddler yet, aside from saying he was mostly right about a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Um, I thought I thought the Riddler was a very smart and a very balanced take on not just radicalization, victimization, radicalization, um, echo chambers online, and how people go from thought to action. You know, when they,
yeah,
given the right nudge, and like you saw the chat group and whatever that he had, and how people were basically like, "Yeah, do it. We got you right." And given that, a year ago, there's some similar shit happened up in DC. It's like it did, and it was filmed before. By the way, they had started working on this before all that shit happened with at the Capitol. It's just
yeah,
interesting that it really kind of shines a light on that sort of thing. This is like all good fiction should have kernels of truth within, and there's plenty of that contained within this movie. And
hmm,
I think I first of all, we are definitely getting sequel to this. This no doubt, without a doubt, we are getting a sequel to this. Riddler is not dead, right? So,
thank
and
God.
and Joker, obviously we saw. Which, by the way, I don't know how I feel about that Joker thing at the end. It didn't make any sense in the movie. But if you saw that deleted scene, you're like, oh, okay, that's something. That's a thing,
Yeah,
But we're getting more of this. We're getting some spin-offs that are going to be on HBO Max. We got that Penguin series coming, and the Arkham Asylum thing. So, I I think the future is bright for the Batman. This iteration of the Batman, I think the future is very bright indeed, and we're better for it. This is uh, I don't know that I'll say it's my favorite Batman, but it's the Dark Knight still holds a place. But you're right, it is really more about Joker than anything else. That said, it's quite a close up there with the Dark Knight to me. Well done by Matt Reeves,
yeah.
Robert Pattinson, et al. They did a great job, and I can tell you, dude, you I know you. This is your shit. This is your jam, and
Yeah.
I'm happy for you. Really, I love when people find something that they can't let go. I tell you, I love to see it. So
I want to bounce this idea off of you
okay,
really quickly. And I talked about this with my brother and his friend. Who do you think, where do you think he got all that information from? The Riddler.
well they did indicate that he's smarter than Bruce, which was always the case with Riddler. Is always smarter. He's always the smartest guy in the room, unless Lex Luthor is
Hmm.
around. So that I'm not, particularly surprised by this. If someone we don't know what he did for a living or whatever. Edward Nigma within the comics. He worked. What did he work for the police at some point? He had some connections, but this is pretty much a guy smart enough to be able to hack or whatever the hell he figured out, and he connected the dots because he's just smart like that. Probably Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, if he had been look. The problem with Batman is that he's always looking down to find people to fight crime, and he's never looking up.
Yeah.
All of the people that got killed in here by Riddler were high placed, and that he wasn't looking in that direction because he only wanted to fight the crime that he could see externally. You know,
Yeah.
robberies and drug dealing, etc. And he forgets that there's plenty of far more dangerous, far more destructive people who are rich, whose ability to hurt other people is magnified by their not just the fact that they got money, but also their place in society that theoretically they are quote good people. And the exposing that was a big thing for Riddler. So how did he get that? I don't know.
See,
I would just say good research and like just being smart enough to make the connections.
do you want I my theory on this is because the fact that they're using the Martha Wayne that came from that has some mental disabilities. I think they're going to have to do the Court of Owls, and I think
Oh yeah,
the owls gave him the information. I think that's what happened.
that would be interesting. I wonder what they would get from it because in a way they are the elites. The Court of Owls are the elites. Um, who were they
Because
trying to get rid of?
remember this was all pointed at the Waynes and the Arkham. Remember this all of this whole entire movie, this all the killings and all that stuff was all pointed at the Waynes and the Arkham because Riddler. Because this is one thing that I feel that Riddler is not as intelligent as some people want to make him out to be. And I feel that he got his information from somebody because he was absolutely wrong about the Waynes. He was
Yeah.
absolutely wrong
Well, I
about them.
mean, he was wrong. He was not totally wrong. Like he
I
wasn't.
mean, he was right, but I can tell that he didn't personally look into it because if he did, because he wouldn't, because remember, he purposely said, remember, Batman said, because a lot of people are like, well, it doesn't matter. He'll just get rid of corrupt people. If that was true, he would have targeted Jim Gordon. I mean, if he was like, he was going to, like, somebody was like, well, he's targeting everybody who's dealing with the case or anything like that. And I was like, well, if that was true, he would have went after Jim Gordon. He purposely went after people that he believed was corrupt. And I felt if he actually truly did look into the Wayne thing, he would have never went after Bruce Wayne and all that. I felt like he was told that information.
Mhm.
That's how I felt. That's how I feel about it. Because I was like, he had to be told. Because if he was not told and he actually researched this, I don't think he will go after Bruce Wayne as hard as he did and try and kill him like that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I mean, I could very well be. Uh, we're gonna find out. Hopefully on the next one. So
Yeah, hopefully.
anyway, well, we really like this movie. It's a great movie. If you have HBO Max, what are you doing? Go watch it. If you
Yes.
can see it in the theater, I highly recommend see it in the theater. It is so much better. It's
Yeah.
visually, it's just really great on a good big screen and has a great soundtrack. So you guys go check that out. But either way, what do you guys think about the movie? What do you guys think about what we had to say? Why don't you get down to the comments? Let us know what you're thinking. And of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. Come through and we'll chop it up about the Batman. And speaking of that, while you're down there hitting those keys for those comments, you can you can also hit the subscribe button, join the Super Not Funny Show family, and of course you can always hit the notification bell to let you know when we drop new content. I want to
Hmm.
thank Ladi, my good friend Ladi, for joining me on this. Ladi, you want to let them know how they can reach you on social media?
Oh yeah, you can always find me on my Instagram, which is Kinihun. I mean, it's Anu Kinihun. It's spelled ANUKINIHUN. Again, it's ANUKINIHUN. Be sure to look out because I'm about to drop some new stuff soon. Sort of inspired by the Batman. And also, you can find me on my YouTube channel, which is KeeneyHoon25. Log in soon and watch the streams because I'm coming towards the end of Elden Ring. So you don't want to miss the epic end. I've actually made a lot of progress. So don't miss out.
Yeah, you guys go check out his channel and Instagram. Show some love, subscribe, like all that fun stuff. All right, this has been the 46th episode of the Supercast. We're closing in on that 1 year anniversary. It's coming up very soon. So Well, thanks for joining us, you guys. Come back next week. We got plenty more superhero stuff to talk about, and it should be a good time then. Until then, I've been Mo De Pay, your resident fabricant and comic extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Ladi. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.